Let's go for Wessex Blades in England. Plenty to talk about, so don't go away. It's the way I'm moving forward with YouTube. Wesky's coming through, Tumblr little unit sorted out, and a really big fundraiser for combat stress coming up for November 11th, so don't go away. Big update coming up. Wessex Blades coming up for my 3rd anniversary, going full time after leaving the school. And when it comes to, with all the changes on YouTube, usually speaking, you tinker with the logarithm, and the way that the things are shared and the way that the things are suggested. I've never really been very keyed up on the strategies and the ways to play the game. I just literally use YouTube as a way to show the work that I'm doing at the moment, a way to present myself on film so you can get an idea of your character and what you're going to be getting as a blade. Obviously sharing my journey from cobbling a belt grinder together at a 2, banging on an anvil, leaf springs, and I move forward with Wessex Blades, and you know, filming events and sharing other people's trades and their skills as well, as much as I can, to raise awareness and maybe one day get the government to accept us as a nice bunch of lads. Okay, fool was I. The way that I've played it was very much, you know, maybe edit it together, cobble together some form of intro, and at the end do a scrolling thing and like comment just to give me a bit of feedback on how I'm moving forward. But with the way that YouTube is changing and trying to be more dynamic, and then this adpocalypse that's coming on, it was getting to the point when you really seriously got to consider the amount of time spent on it and the pennies that you'd be getting in remuneration. Now, you can't look at YouTube as a money spinner, say, and get too wrapped up and involved in it. So a lot of people have been, you know, like, right, get a bit of resolve and let's just study a bit, or let's up your game a bit and just try and kickstart yourself in a certain amount to just make up for the loss of how it's going, because the reach has dropped, and then as you watch your, you know, the views just aren't coming through. Now, in terms of using it for Wessex Blades, I've got a big waiting list, so it worked for what I needed it to. So I wasn't really too worried about it, because I still got enough reach, there's still enough awareness of Wessex Blades for it to work the way that I need it. I'm putting myself out there. I can share when I go to bushcraft or whatever and do a show. I can cobble something together as best I can. The knife show might want to use me vids, and I might be able to share the journey that I'm doing and maybe get accepted by the government. Okay? It was working, but with all things to do with Wessex Blades as a sort of going concern, I've always tried to tweak. So somewhere along the line, something's improving. Now, literally today, I sorted out this little stone tumbler thing. You get these. It's basically a toy, and you'll get it in the Natural History Museum. But it's big enough that I can get my Weskeys in. It's big enough I can just about get Kellens in. So for those 2 items in my arsenal, I can actually do an acid stonewash, and you know, I think that's quite a nice even finish. So it cleans it all up, it gets all inside there, it gives it a nice finish, and then all what I need to do is go and put the chisel end and the screwdriver and can open a little front snappy bit at the front fork, and then Dremel out that for the ferrule rod. So you know, I'm constantly looking at ways to improve, and I never really bit the bullet when it comes to studying YouTube. So anyway, long story short, as I always do, because, you know, once I got talking, at least if you're going to be listening, later's all about it. I did me back in. Usual story. Other place, too much going on. So every now and again I'd have to sit down and do a job like finishing knives off. Now what I normally do is I'll have a documentary going in my headphones, so I'm working away. Whenever I've got a task that's simple, rather than be out in the garage and cold, I'd rather have a sit down and have some science documentary or something just running in the background. Rather than doing that, I've been going to school. I've been there about 3 days now on YouTube, i.e. how to play the game a little bit. I think it turns out, of all the bad practices, I've been doing about 95% of it. Yeah. Just the way that I was doing it was the worst possible way of doing it, you know. 30-second intros, just watch your viewership peel off in the first 5 seconds. Even that was an eye-opener for me. I mean, to say someone's clicked up that thumbnail and they can't even be bothered to wait 5 seconds. No, they can't. The people who watch me because they know it's you know, they're my core fan base, 400 or 500 of you, you could skip that or watch it, okay? But anybody else who comes across it who's not necessarily sub to it, i.e. the seeds that get thrown onto the field, okay, some form of stony ground, and you'd hope you'd be able to just collect the odd few now and again. No, it doesn't work like that. I literally found this thing and I watched my viewing, and in 5 seconds, why? Because I got a 20-second intro. Just realizations like that. I'm doing myself no favours, okay? I'm doing you no favours, because just think about it. If I make it snappier, okay, yeah, if I can make a little bit more, I get a better camera. If I make a little bit more, I could go out and about and do something and justify going out and filming and doing YouTube. I literally been stuck in this garage for 3 years because all I've got is backlog. If I could get out and about, it would give far better viewing for you. I'd better get out and test my knives, and I may discover different things because I used to get out and about, and look how that learning curve worked. So when it comes to the YouTube, I've literally been to school for 3 days and I've been on it for nearly a decade. So I am literally a greenhorn. There will be a few slight changes. There might be the odd thing at the end of a video where if someone's on a bit of a binge, there'll be a suggested. I've sort of like sussed that out. I'll be chucking the odd vid backed up on another platform, because obviously my tag of knife, YouTube no likey, so you know the earning potential is virtually non-existent. So what I've got to do is I've got to counteract that in some way to get at least some money back on something, or it's like a two-stroke. It's going to be total loss, and I have to be prepared for that. So over the next few months there'll be a few differences in the way I'm going to do it. Maybe a few more vids every now and again. I'm trying to be a little bit more bit snappy with the way I'm talking, maybe, I don't know. I'm trying to get a little bit more excited about it. But if, you know, I'm one of these people, my mentality is if there's a mountain and you give me a Kango and I'm thinking that's got a carbide tip, and if I long enough, I'll go through the mountain. Okay, I got that patience of Job mentality, and not very often am I someone who will actually work smart, if that makes sense. I'd like to think I'm quite sharp, but in an area where I've got no experience, I would never know the questions to ask in order to discover. And it's only because I'm thinking I must be doing something wrong, I'm actually able to put in and search around and get some tutorials and view some webinars, and I'm not just doing something wrong, I'm doing virtually everything wrong. And so all I'm doing is I'm not just shooting myself in the foot, I'm killing it myself. It is the thing with the way that the videos are viewed and the way that the channel's moving. So I need to pick the game up big time in order to get things that fit into a YouTube far more readily viewable format, which can only be a good thing for anybody who's watching it. I mean, it's still going to be me on the screen, but rather than that dogmatic film upload, next to no snappy editing, a big intro, I'm just not doing myself any favours. You know, the turn off rate of not necessarily you or the committed watchers of seeing my journey, but the general populace. What's it? Oh, there's no cat and yawning. I'm off somewhere else. You know, oh, they're not shooting taconite bombs in cars. You know, I'm not really that sort of channel because I'm not getting anything back on it. So I can't really invest in going, I'm going to go out for the weekend on Dartmoor, because I need to be in here earning, because YouTube is making me nothing. Do you understand? If YouTube actually was a little bit more of a little bit coming back, I'd be more prepared, and I wouldn't be so blinkered to the fact that I got a waiting list and I got to try and get this out, because that's what my earnings is. As far as I can go, I'm going to try and raise my game on the way that I'm doing videos and just make them more conducive to actually getting anywhere, as opposed to just being like a format documentary style and it's doing none of us any good. Okay, so that's basically what's happening with YouTube and me. And 3 years, it's about time I picked up the game in some area other than the workshop stuff that I'm doing. The other thing is, what I want to be able to do in the next week is raise awareness for this knife on behalf of a customer is going to be offered up for a veteran style charity, obviously November 11th. So what I've plumbed for is combat stress. I've done a little thing on YouTube. It's got copper accent pins there through onto both sides. Right, it's got scallop front scales. It's really thick and it's pretty damn awesome geometry. It's the usual Wessex, 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 Wessex. Okay, so that's going to be one of the sort of like £10 tickets, and what I want to be able to do is to honour this chap's donation of the blade and the way that he wants it to make a difference. I want to get 40 people to do £10 each for combat stress, and obviously start raising awareness for it. I want to be able to do it around about the 11th of November. I want to get hold of combat stress to get the charity number and they're aware of it, to make sure it's all above board. And yes, so in the next, just sort of like the next week or so, this is going to be offered up. It's got a nice leather sheath as well, so awareness of that. And then moving forward with the channel, in a way, sort of 3 years down, I got the next batch coming from Duncan. I think I may have sold between 2 and 5 blades, just waiting back on emails. So if I can get the car fixed, that'll be great, but if not, we'll just plod on with the jazz until tour runs MOT's due I think in April, so I don't know what's happening with that. But next batch coming up is a Westmuck, a Butanto, and this is timed for the next batch from Duncan. There's a chance for Tomahawks coming, so thanks for joining me again. Thanks, you know, keeping in with the video, and you haven't turned off in 5 seconds because you know you're on my crew, and you know you can share my experience as I try and move forward and raise my game in an area that I haven't really branched out in, which is actually YouTube savviness. Thanks for joining me again. Let's go for Wessex Blades.